And now it's time for a very important message about the United States of America, brought to you by a guy sitting on a couch talking to you while he drinks coffee and showing you some mail.
It's time to spend some time with Rick. It's time to spend some time with Rick.
He's a lean and mean former child star and genuine wear. Hear him sing, watch him dance, he'll put you under his spell. Behind the scenes, Uncle John, all buddy time with his kids. Everybody around the world, tell what time it is.
It's time to spend some time with Rick.
Jump back, kiss myself.
It's time to spend some time with Rick. With Rick.
What time is it?
With Rick.
What time is it?
With Rick.
What time is it?
So I'm sitting here with my morning coffee. I have just awoken a few minutes ago. It's a lovely day outside. It's actually incredibly hot. Hot as in we're going to be upwards of 40 degrees today, Celsius. For those of you who don't know Celsius, that means about 100 degrees. For all of you beautiful, stupid babies, because that's the majority of you who are here watching me, I'm exercising my privilege and right as an American to vote. I didn't know if you were aware of how we go about doing that. We have these really scary things called mail-in ballots.
Mary, take it. You take this mail-in ballot, Mary. Take it. You're gonna vote.
I mean, they're so scary. It's this, oh my goodness. If you've heard ridiculous things coming from people, most especially the President of the United States, about mail-in ballots or absentee ballots being a problem, it's transcendently ridiculous. No election has ever had somebody jumping up and down and screaming and crying that there's going to be a problem with them. And it's not COVID related. It's because somebody knows they're about to get their rear end handed to them and they're trying to figure out a way to make an excuse for it, because there's nothing wrong with them. And I have typically preferred and always gone into my polling place. I've done it every year. They know me by name when I walk in. But this year I'm probably going to do it. I get the ballot that I can mail in just because that's a safer thing for everybody to be doing right now. And I want to do it just to thumb my nose at the people who say, you're doing such a scary, dangerous thing. No, I'm not. But this is, I'm going to fold this over. I don't want to broadcast the ballot number on here, but this is covering that up. That's what the front page looks like. I have my sticker there that's going to say I voted, and I can peel that off. And we do that every election. You'll see people with stickers on their shirt that say I voted. And then on the actual official ballot, it has the candidate. It gives you the instructions on how to fill it out, and it gives you the things that are being voted for, and you circle in the bubbles. And so there's various things on here, from Los Angeles Community College District Member of the Board Trustees to we've got judges that we're voting for. And then importantly, we also have things with state measures that we vote on that are for the state, as well as you can see right here, the national election. And did you know there were other candidates for president on the ballot besides Trump, Pence, and Biden-Harris? Here's Trump, Pence, and Biden-Harris, but we also have some other candidates here who have taken the time to try to be heard. Ever heard of any of them? No, because they're not Democrats or Republicans, and they don't have money. Doesn't that suck? That's basically, you have to affiliate yourself with either the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, and then you need to get people to give you lots and lots and lots of money in order to run for the presidency. Woohoo! Another thing that we're given, which is what I'm looking at this morning, in addition to any mail-in things that you're sent, everybody is always sent this booklet that is an outline of the things for the general election. And it gives you information inside. Some of it is redundant. It's the same thing every single time. But they do a really good job of giving you what's called a quick reference, and then they give you an even bigger breakdown of, for example, Proposition 19, which is on the ballot. So let me go to Proposition 19 here in the quick reference, and I don't know that you can see that clearly because it's not bright enough, but it'll give you a quick reference guide to Prop 19, give you an idea of a summary of what the proposition is, what a yes vote means, what a no vote means. They will give you pros and cons based on the people who wrote the proposition. And then they'll show you what organizations or people are for or against it. But then they go even deeper into it, and they give 2 full pages of full descriptions of the argument for Prop 19 and an argument against Prop 19. And then there's a rebuttal at the bottom. So for example, the people who are for Proposition 19, who are probably the ones who wrote it, they get a full paragraph to explain why they want Prop 19 on the ballot and are asking you to vote for it and what it will do. And then they put their names at the bottom. Underneath it is the rebuttal against it. The ones who say, okay, that's their argument, well, we disagree. Then over here, the ones who don't want Prop 19 tell you why they don't want it, but then there's a rebuttal from those who wrote it, who say, oh yeah, that's what they said. It's kind of like courtroom drama. And that is how we go about voting here. How many people do it? It's an embarrassment. Our voter turnout in the past has been embarrassing. We should be the leaders in voter turnout and education and recognizing the importance and the power of what happens when you place your vote, not just for the candidates, but for example, these propositions. I was looking at my ballot yesterday and I could have easily just ticked off the presidential one. But there's a lot of propositions and things that are on here that I'm making sure I've read up and done my homework and know exactly what I'm choosing. There's some candidates on here that if they're running, for example, for a judge, and I don't know the candidates, and I haven't seen any ads for them, and I haven't read up on them, I'll leave it blank. I'm not just going to choose somebody. I sure as heck won't choose somebody because they're affiliated with some kind of political party. That's never going to happen. So I'm in the process of doing my homework and making sure that I'm as fully informed as I possibly can be. They make it really easy for you to be informed. I wish they made it a bit easier, actually, because I just wish we could change our system so that in some way, shape, or form, more people could be more easily connected with and more easily able to have their voice heard. And right now it requires some effort. Imagine that. You actually have to, in America, read the booklets and make sure they get mailed to you and make sure your registration is accurate so that they can be mailed to you, and then fill it out and put a stamp on it or show up to your polling place. And apparently a lot of Americans have some trouble with that. How do you feel about that, India? With your election system where you have pollsters who have to pack everything up and get on boats and take the boats out and then walk for 2 hours to find a remote village, and people in the remote village will walk for a mile to find the place and vote. It's truly embarrassing. But I do think this particular election, for the presidential election, we're going to see record turnout. And I really hope we see record turnout here in the state of California for all of these really important propositions that are going to change the state. But it's really maddening because, example, one of the things we voted for in the state of California about 2 years ago now, maybe 3, was for us to get rid of daylight savings time. Every fall, we turn the clock back 1 hour. We're about to do it now. And then in the spring, we put it back an hour to the time it is presently. We could call it fall back, spring forward. Everyone has always hated it. It was done a long time ago, and it was particularly done for agricultural purposes and for light for farmers and workers. And people argue about it now being light for kids going to school and things of that nature, but we voted on that. It was in the booklet just like that a couple years ago. We voted on it, and about 75% of Californians said, get rid of it. And our legislature has done nothing about it. To my knowledge, I heard from someone that we need permission from the federal government. I don't know why that's the case, because Arizona doesn't do it. And what happened to states' rights? Anyway, If you find the political process in the United States to be boring, you're probably not watching this any longer. For those of you who are still here, I applaud you. I cheer you. Long live democracy and freedom of speech and the freedom to be able to sit on a couch and show everybody what you're doing as you vote in this particular election. And if you were wondering, I am voting for Biden-Harris. Most of you already knew that. If you don't, you probably don't follow Corbin and I on Twitter. Oh, and by the way, this message is brought to you by seaweed. Seaweed. It's what's for breakfast. And if you're not having it for breakfast, why not? See?